Hello everyone, welcome back to Matrix Wisdom YouTube channel. Have you ever walked into a room and felt an uncanny sensation that you've been there before, even though you know you're experiencing it for the first time? If so, you are encountering what the French named Deja Vu, which translates to already seen. Scientist Alan Brown became fascinated by the phenomenon and conducted an in-depth study of Deja Vu. Believe it or not, he found that 2/3 of people around the globe experience this phenomenon at some point. Some people have even been known to encounter it more than once a week. So what would make someone believe they've been somewhere or met someone before when neither appears true? There are a variety of explanations for deja vu, but not even science can fully explain why it happens. What does the general public think of deja vu? To find out, we asked 50 people from various backgrounds to share their opinions on what could be causing this strange sensation. We would also love to hear your views in the comment box below. Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. What is deja vu?
That is interesting. I actually wish I did know that, because it happens a lot, doesn't it? I've got no idea, apart from if it's just a total, like, your brain is just having a little glitch.
Tough one. Probably coincidence. I don't really believe in spooky things, so...
Oh, that's a tricky one, because they do happen quite a lot. So it's weird, because it's just like almost like a feeling that I've been here before, I've done this before, we've had this conversation before. Whether it's like in a dream, I'm not too sure, because you can never really pinpoint when or what or where it was. So yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one, but it's definitely a feeling of... We can't explain it, can we? It's weird. I think we all get those deja vu moments where you're like, oh... Keith, you've said that before. I definitely have heard you say that you dropped your glass, you've laughed like that, and you've said that exact same thing and snorted beer out. You know, so I've seen it, I've heard it. But you couldn't predict what's going to happen after that, could you? So it's deja vu, but you don't have any kind of clarity on what's coming next. Who knows where it's come from? Maybe it's them aliens you were talking about earlier.
Well, I mean, you have lots of memories and there's loads of things happening in your life, and someone will mention something, I'm sure it'll feel familiar because you've done something similar, just because, you know, you've got so many memories.
I don't know.
Well, as I mentioned, I believe that deja vu is related to parallel universes, and your self in that universe has experienced something or something very similar to what you're experiencing. And so that's why you think, oh, I've done this before, because you have, just not in this universe.
I think there's just like different universes, and at some point it's already happened in a different universe. So it's just sort of like it happens in this universe and then it reminds you of when it already happened.
Kind of, how do we explain it? I think deja vu is like a glitch in your brain, where something just feels over familiar. We don't know 100% what causes it. There's lots of scientific theories on what causes it, but it is weird, and apparently people that are more stressed get deja vu more than others, so maybe that's why I get it a lot.
I always say I've got deja vu. I'd say I think we're quite forgetful as humans. So something that just almost triggers something in our brain, it might be your consciousness, in terms of like something might just happen and you just recognise it, and straight away, because it's become such a common phrase, you just go straight to that and say, oh, it's deja vu.
A situation that is very familiar, but you can't quite put your finger on it. But I also think that if you were to explain it to an alien, you kind of have to take them, they'd have to experience it for themselves to understand it. It's quite a hard thing to explain to someone completely new to it.
With deja vu, when I always get a really specific feeling when it happens to me, like I've had a dream about that before. So I think that maybe our dreams are predicting the future, whether it's just, but your dreams are a reaction to something that's happened to you, and then something similar happens in the future, and then you just feel like you've had a dream about that. But that's how I think deja vu works.
Deja vu. how do I explain it? I just think it does happen. It is a thing, because it's a bit like if my mum passed away in 2018, and my granddaughter is 5. There's things that she does, and I'm thinking, oh, my mum used to do that, or the way she stands, or the way she walks, or runs, things like that. So I do believe it, and I just think it's just one of them things that happen genetically, and I just think it's part of you and part of your family.
I think deja vu is that like parallel world where I've done it before and that's how I know what I'm doing, or that's how I know what's going to happen next. Whether it's like a paradox world that's at the same time, whether it's a past life I've done it in a different time, whether I've done it with someone else and been not reanimated, when I've come back to life, reincarnated. But it is, you can walk the steps that someone's walked so long ago. And it's like you have that memory fragment of what happened before and you can't explain it. And I don't know how, but I think it's real.
I would love to know the answer to this, because I swear I literally have deja vu on a daily basis. I literally had it walking from my car to here. I find it so fascinating, and I wish someone would know the answer because it's driving me crazy. But again, I do kind of believe in like reincarnation and past lives, so maybe that has something to do with it.
It's hard to fathom, really. I think it's possibly something going on with dreams and consciousness and pondering things, and then those things that you ponder then becoming true.
I think we have a lot of experiences every day, and I think it just connects up. And one day you're just like, oh, that reminded me of another experience, but you can't really put your finger on it.
Is it? So that's when you recognise something that you, okay. Maybe that could be like an idea of like a previous life, of maybe like reincarnation. Could be, but I'm not sure. I think there is also an element of if you experience deja vu when you actually have experienced that before, but you've just forgotten about it. So there's that as well.
I've been thinking about this. So I feel like it's a memory that feels close to what we're experiencing. I think it's fine.
I think deja vu, the phenomenon would be, I think it would be having to revisit scenarios when you least expect it. So also meeting people you haven't seen in ages. I think that would make you think if those are the people that need to be in your life, and if that scenario is where you need to be in your life. So I think that's my view on deja vu.
I don't know, but it happens all the time, and it's mad. Like, all the time. Yeah.
We can't. We can't explain the phenomena of deja vu. There are plenty of theories, fun ones, and my favourite would be parallel universes. You know, you think of it because you're remembering it from a parallel universe, and you're connecting in some weird metaphysical way. I love that one. Probably not true. I wish it was. I don't know. Deja vu is a fun one. I get it all the time, though. So if anybody figures it out, tell me, because something's broken up here and we need to fix it.
It's a surreal experience. You can't quite put your finger on it. It's happened to me many times throughout my life, I would say. I'd say many. I don't know, maybe 40, 50 times, rough estimate. But you can't put your finger on it. It's almost like you go into a room, you go into a place, you meet somebody, you have an experience, and it just feels so surreally similar. And it's very hard to define. But it really does feel like you have lived that moment before. There's been, like I say, 40, 50 occasions when something is overly familiar, but only a handful of those are, wow, this is surreal, and I can't understand why this feels so real, as if I've been here before. But I do believe it exists, but where it comes from and the meaning behind it, that's debatable.
Deja vu is something that you know or believe to has happened and then has happened again, or you've dreamt it, or there's a situation been where you've been in the middle of it and it's occurred again.
Do you think it is something supernatural, or do you think it's more
Psychological.
I think it's the universe's way of saying you are exactly where you need to be, doing the right thing at the right time.
I think maybe if there's like multiple universes with like everything happening at a different time, then it's sort of them like overlapping.
Usually I think I can see the future before it's happened. That's what I usually say, so yeah.
Experiencing something now similar to something we experienced before, therefore it provokes an unexplainable feeling within that we've connected these two events, and it strangely reminds us of it, and it may be like almost like for like, but it isn't the same experience, and so you get a little bit of a hazy flashback.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I've felt deja vu before. Sometimes it could be like the mind playing tricks on you. Like throughout life, we do have things that we experience more than once anyway. So it could just be that.
I think it falls into what was mentioned earlier about there being so many instances and happenstances and events that happen throughout your life that it's kind of logistical that some things are going to repeat themselves. So I think, yeah.
I think that's just like a brain situation where your brain is circulating and making you think things have happened before. I think there's a scientific reason for that.
Not really sure, to be honest. I think it's a false memory. You're experiencing something and you think, I've been here before, and you haven't. I think something just goes wrong and you don't know why, and I don't know why either.
I think we can have dormant memories that are hidden in the backs of our minds that we couldn't recall unless something happened that was similar. And then when we have that similar experience, there's a jarring effect that makes you bring up that dormant memory and go, oh, feels like that has happened before.
Don't they explain it by the things you experience go into your short-term memory and you get a kind of loop where it seems like a memory while it's happening?
So, I know I've had it, I don't know about other people, but like you can literally have a dream, right, and something happens, and then some point down the line in life, that thing actually happens. And to me, that's what I class as deja vu. It's like, hang on, I've seen this before.
I think you have to leave that one to the brain scientists. I have no idea. I don't think we've actually experienced that thing before, but I do believe it's a thing people feel in their mind.
I think it's as like I think our minds are just, with how technology is developed and stuff like that and everything else, I think our minds are just categorized to actually just believe things that have happened before, or like something might have happened before, and you just, again, because we're so dumb, we don't remember these things happening, and we're like, oh, I feel like that's happened before, but it's definitely not. So yeah.
In a similar way as we can explain the phenomena of feeling like we dreamt this happening, which is your brain is constantly trying to imagine the things that can happen to you based on the stimuli it's experienced as a constant risk assessment and preparation for the future. And then things will happen which come really close to something that's happened before, or they feel so comfortable and you feel so safe and in them that they feel like they've happened before. So I think that's the explanation.
I believe the imagination is connected to various realities, and it's possible something we've imagined in our subconscious can happen in real life, and that's what deja vu is.
I don't think you can explain it. I think it's just a part of our brain that we just
can't quite tap into just yet?
I had a lot in the past. So when I was a little bit younger, I had a lot when oh yeah, it's actually happened, but it's happened like every 2 weeks. It was like very confusing now what's happening here. But after I think last year, I had a few like seeings as well. So example, I was looking out on a window from the house, and this big white van just drive past. You know, you can't compare it to other van because it was had unique features. And I just walked to the other window, was like 6 steps, and the car drive past again. And I was like, what's happening here? Like, it's just literally happened like 2 seconds ago. Yeah, mate.
Deja vu. I can't explain it. I've had it a few times, but it's only lasted like a split second. Like I'd be in a room or something like something kind of seems familiar, like I've been here before. But I can't explain it. I don't know. It's like the Matrix thing. If in the movie Keanu Reeves sees a cat, they call it deja vu because there's a glitch in the Matrix. Are we in the Matrix? Could we be controlled by that? I can't really explain. I've had it experience. I think everyone's experienced a bit of deja vu myself, but I don't know why it happens. I know it exists though.
Deja vu. Similar to I guess it's somewhat similar to history repeating itself, sort of thing, really, or something that you remember once a long time ago, something like that. So.
I think I googled it a while ago because I was curious, like, why is that happening? Not the Matrix or anything. And apparently it said something like you connect it in the brain to do with like your memory recall and something not quite working quite right in that moment. So scientifically, I guess something like that. But at the same time, I bet it can simply be, oh, you have done that before, but you've forgotten. So it may not be a brain blip. It could be like, oh yeah, I've experienced this before. So it's like a literal thing.
I think it's just being in a similar place at a similar time with similar people. Yeah, if you're in a bar and you see someone and you see someone who looks the same height, looks reasonably similar, and you do a similar series of actions that you've repeated before, then I think you're going to have something that goes, ooh.
I usually say I've just dreamt it because I've already seen it once before or something. I've had it a couple of times where I'm like, I swear I recognise this place. But I don't really know how to explain it. Probably visited it and don't remember. I don't know.
That baffles me because it happens to me often and I have no idea. I watched Interstellar and then I thought, oh, maybe we just have different versions of us in different planes and it kind of converges and then we have that feeling.
I think it's weird because I have it quite a lot, but I just think it's weird, unexplainable kind of thing.
Say that again?
How can we explain the phenomenon?
I think it's memories that we can't immediately recall, but probably more sensory memories, such as a smell that reminds us of somewhere we've been, a texture of a wall or what have you. It's something like that more than we've actually been here before.
So, there we go. Some people think deja vu is linked to the multiverse, some people believe it's related to dreams, some to time travel, some to past lives, and others think it's nothing more than coincidence. The big question is, what do you think deja vu is?